I'm Joey. This is First Look at ICAST Tackle Warehouse, and we're here with Tackle Warehouse Pro, Mike Iaconelli. Ike, welcome to the show. So glad to have you.
It's great to be here.
All right, we have a bunch of new, really exciting stuff from Abu, really a whole new look on the Revo line. Tell us what we got here and tell us all about it.
Okay, this is the brand new Winch, and everybody knows I love fishing crankbaits. I love fishing A-rigs, big swim baits. This is the perfect reel. I want to show you a couple of the features that I love. First one is the gear ratio. When you're deep cranking, when you're throwing those big baits, you want a lower gear ratio, right? You want power. And this is a 5:4-to-1 gear ratio. It's incredible. The next thing about this new winch, I want you to really look at this. Look at how deep that spool is, right? And I know a lot of people are saying, well, what do you want a deep spool for? And that's to hold a lot of line, right? So you're throwing that giant swim bait, you're throwing that big DT20, you're trying to cast it a mile. This is going to hold a ton of line. And I just want to give you a little example of what I'm talking about here. This is going to hold 180 yards of 12-pound mono. Dude, that's a lot of line, right? So mega cast, monster cast is what you need. It's got the large handle on it. It's the 90 handle. And that's another thing. When I'm cranking, I want that power, right? So the longer the handle, the more power. Of course, you're looking, it's got that newly redesigned Abu platform. And the great thing about that is it does fit in your hand, right? A lot of times those old reels that held a lot of line for big baits weren't palmable. With these new Abu winch reels, it fits in your palm. It almost becomes part of your body. So that's real important. Great drag system on this thing. Phenomenal, anti-reverse. This is going to be the reel that I use. Crankbaits, swim baits, A-rigs, big baits. This is the reel that I'm going to be throwing.
So the winch has really been a dynasty now for a long time for Abu Garcia.
Yes.
This is a lot of people's favorite cranking reel. Really, besides the cosmetics, the palming ability there, tell us when and why that low gear ratio matters, not just for the power, but also for the action of the bait, and maybe as an excitable person like myself.
Yeah.
Does it help you get more bites?
It does help you get more bites. Here's the thing. You tend to overfish a bait with a high gear ratio. So what a 5:4-to-1 is doing for you, it's giving you power, but it's forcing you to slow down, right? Everyone knows if you've watched the Tackle Warehouse vlogs, I'm a maniac. I can't slow down, but that 5:4-to-1 forces you to slow down and gives you a lot of power, and that's what you want. So if you think about a crankbait with a giant bill, if you think about a giant glide bait, you want a rhythmic reeling motion. You want that power, right? You want to slow yourself down. That's what the winch is going to do. And again, I just want to reiterate, those style reels in the past always meant big clunky reels. Now it's palmable, it's light, without giving up any of those things like drag or power or anything like that. So this is the reel. If you throw a big crankbait, big swim bait and A-rig, this is the one.
Awesome. And you're talking about specifically swim baits and A-rigs. You mentioned the line capacity on 12-pound, but that really gets important if you're throwing 20, 22, 25-pound. You're going to see the bottom of that spool soon if you don't have a big line capacity like a winch.
Yeah, we've all done it before. We've spooled a rod up with 20 or 30 fluorocarbon, and we make a cast and you see the knot, right? You can't have that. In a lot of clear water fisheries, long casts are key. With that crankbait, for a crankbait to achieve maximum diving depth, you have to have a maximum casting length, right? So a winch on a 7.5 to 8 foot parabolic rod is the deal. It'll chuck that bait a mile. You don't have to stroll, you don't have to troll. You could get a bait 15, 20, 25 feet on the cast, and you can do that with the winch.
Awesome. It's physics, my friend. This is the new Abu Garcia Revo winch, available soon at tacklewarehouse.com. Up next, we've got the brand new Revo SX spinning reel. The SX has been a long time favorite of anglers all across the country, and there's a brand new design on the new SX spinning reel. Tell us about this.
It's amazing. I'm a finesse guy. I love spinning reels. And when you talk about a platform that has been redesigned from the ground up, this is it. Look at that thing. It looks like a beautiful spaceship is the best way I can describe it. But I brought some props to show you, and I want to show you how they redesigned the frame on that spinning reel. It's made it stronger, it's made it lighter, and it's made it more compact. The other great thing about this is look at how big we've increased the little gearing on that. Old, new, look at the size of that thing. It's as big as a $50. And these really are the guts of what makes this reel pretty awesome. Got some great sizes, especially for my bass guys. If you're watching, we've got a 20, we've got a 30, we've got a 40. They're the three that are really, really going to be key. Anti-reverse on this thing stops on a dime. I call it knuckle slap. I cannot stand when you set the hook on something and you feel that slap. This is stop on a dime, anti-reverse. And here's a great thing, and I don't care how many people I make mad, I'm just going to say it. We got rid of the little back reeling switch there that, you know, would sometimes get switched by itself and it would start back reeling. You didn't need it. It's gone. It's lighter. You don't have to worry about it ever engaging to back reel. I love that feature on this reel. Super deep spool. So for you guys that are fishing braid to flora or straight mono or straight braid, a lot of line capacity. Great gear ratio. But here's the biggest thing on the STX. Weight. Super, super light. We're at about 5 or 6 ounces on this reel. You pair that up with one of the Abu rods, it disappears in your hand. It's super light. It's like a wand. It's like a fairy wand. You can barely feel it. So I'm excited about the redesigned frame. I'm excited about the ability to fish little baits and cast them really far.
And in a really, really sharp package too. This is a great,
cool.
Great looking reel, packed with tons of great features. The compact body. You just touched on, and a lot of younger anglers might not even realize what back reeling is or why, you know, we didn't used to have phenomenal drags on spinning tackle. We didn't have the rigid frame that allowed for a smooth drag. And you're going to ruffle some feathers. I'm going to ruffle some feathers by saying that with the drag systems on these new Abu Garcia Revo spinning reels, that's an irrelevant feature now, and they've reduced it because I think we've all accidentally hit that knob, gone to set the hook,
It's the worst.
and you got a mess.
It's the worst. Get rid of it. You don't need it. The drag systems are so incredible now, and you can see the size of that drag. They actually increase the size of the surface area of the drag, and it's real easy to get to. Simple, turn left, turn right, more or less drag. This thing's going to be a staple for when you're finesse fishing. So baits that weigh a 1/4 ounce or less, anything that weighs a 1/4 ounce or less, you're going to be able to throw it a mile with that reel right there.
Awesome. That's the new Revo SX spinning reel from Abu Garcia, available soon at tacklewarehouse.com. We're back, still in the Abu Garcia booth with my man Justin Lucas.
Yes, sir.
But more importantly,
Way more important.
Andrew Wheeler, brand manager, Abu Garcia, here to tell us all about the new features in the 5th generation Revo 5 SX from Abu Garcia, brand new casting reel. Take it away, somebody. Justin, why don't you start? Tell us about this reel.
I'll start. Well, when you say 5th generation, I'm like, gosh, has it been that long? But I think 2007 was, so we're at it like 15 years now. That's unbelievable. I've been throwing nothing but Revos for 15 years. That blows my mind. And what I really like about this, the SX, is still to this day, when my buddies are asking, you know, because I got a bunch of buddies that fish and they don't want to go spend a ton of money on tackle, they're asking what reel to buy, I always send them to the SX. So this is, to me, is for what you're getting out of your money, the best value. You're getting the big drag, or the heavy drag, strong drag, but you're getting the big knobs, the big handle, and Andrew will touch on all those specs. But for me, the most important thing is just how bulletproof they are. And that's what I love about this one and the STX. I can use them and beat them up, like beat them the hell up pretty damn good, to be honest with you. I've got some now that are 2 years old that still, as much as I use them, man, they're going strong. And they look terrible now because they're beat up bad, but they still work just like they were new.
Well, this one looks fresh.
It is.
And really cool. Like you said, durability, performance, and price all in one package. Tell us about this new platform that the Revo's on and all the new features in this brand new Revo SX.
Yeah, so the new Revo SX, as you can see, it's got a pretty unique design now. We call it the asymmetric or asim design, which really means that palm side plate of the reel and the handle side of the reel are not the same shape or size. And we do that for a couple of reasons. First is ergonomics. These reels now naturally fit in your hands. They're super comfortable. The other reason is, and we learn a lot from when we did the Revo EXD family on what makes a reel cast really well. So on these reels, all the line guides are pushed as far forward as we possibly can. And then we've actually used a bigger spool diameter on the Revo SX, so it's a 35 millimeter spool diameter instead of a standard 33 millimeter spool diameter. And we've done that because both of those things really improve castability of the reel. But to not make the reel any bigger, that's where you get that asymmetric design. So to keep the palm footprint of the reel the same, that's where you have that asymmetric design where that palm side is not the same shape as the handle side. So it really fits in your hand, very similar to the old Revos, even though the spool diameter is bigger. Also, as Justin touched on, these are great value reels. They offer a lot of features in these reels. It features our kind of the drag system in this that we have in all of our top line models. Gets 25 pounds of drag out of this reel, which is amazing. And you still get that low end kind of super smooth drag performance. You get that high end where if you want to lock it down with 50 pound drag, you can lock it down and it will not slip. New oversized handle knobs, just makes it really comfortable to fish with all day. Also, we use our IVCV6 braking system in these reels, so that's kind of something we've used in our high-end Xenon family. We've actually dragged that braking system down into the Revo family, so you get now an externally adjustable centrifugal brake. It's my favorite braking system. It's very adjustable. It casts great, and we've put it all in all the Revo models as well.
Awesome. Like we said, durability, performance, great looking reel at a great price. You touched on the cast control system. Let me take it from the engineer to the guy that actually needs to put it to work. A lot of guys will get a new casting reel. It's got knobs all over the place. How do you set your reels, and what's a good place? I mean, it can be intimidating if you've never taken a look at it. Can you tell us how you set your reels for optimal casting performance here? What you're going to do when you get this new SX?
I personally just take it out of the box and throw it.
That's not what we wanted, Justin.
Well, I'm telling you, I loosened that up a little bit, but I always tell people that come in my boat and fish with me, they grab it. I'm like, hey, that's on pro mode right now. You need to make sure you tighten it down a little bit, because I like my stuff really loose. Like, I want to be able to get maximum casting distance out of it. Yeah, I've got to thumb the line a little bit more and probably work a little bit harder. But like Andrew said, you can just adjust this super easily, put more tension on the spool, and avoid those backlashes when you do that. And then as you get better at casting and everything, I think there's a lot of advantages to having it super loose. You can skip really well, cast really far. You get the maximum performance out of the reel that way.
Well, the Berkeley line manager will be happy to hear that you're recommending that you take all the cast controls off your reels.
Yeah.
Andrew, for people that don't know, you have a spool tensioner on one side, right?
Yep.
Where does that come into play for the angler?
Really, you should just adjust it so there's no sideways movement in the spool, and then the rest of the adjustment should come into the braking system. That's sometimes you need a little bit extra if you've got a bait, particularly baits that plane through the air or are very wind resistant. You may need to tighten that tension knob down a little bit further. But for most cases, I would say tension knob, just stop the spool from sliding back and forth, so it's centered, and then all the adjustment comes in the braking system.
Great, thanks for telling us about that. This is the new Revo 5 SX casting reel, available soon at tacklewarehouse.com. Up next, we've got another spinning reel from Abu Garcia. This is the Abu Garcia Revo Winch spinning reel. Justin, the color scheme here kind of matches your gig. Can you tell us about this new spinning reel?
Well, it looks great. The drag is amazing. But what I love about it, and the importance, when we talk about the importance of having a slower speed spinning reel, because generally you look at the rest of our spinning reel lineup, they pick up a lot of line per turn. Especially me, I use a size 30. You're looking around 35, 36 inches per turn. And this is a lot slower. What is the actual pickup?
27, 28 inches.
27, yeah. So you're talking like 7 to 8 inches less per turn. About that, right? And for me, that's important when I'm especially, like I look at it a couple different ways. Cranking in the wintertime if I'm throwing a lighter bait like our Berkeley Bad Shad, something like that. But then also we're about to head up north. I believe it or not, do catch a lot of smallmouth that aren't on a drop shot. Catch some on a spy bait, catch some on a small swim bait. And that type of stuff is really important up there too, and you got to have the right equipment to throw it. And some of the reels sometimes are just too fast, for those. And 90% of the time we're using our spinning reels for bottom bouncing baits. But for the ones that you are moving through the water column that you need to get down a little bit deeper, that slower gear ratio, less inches per turn is really going to help you get down into the strike zone and then be able to stay there without pulling it up away from them. So super important with a few of those techniques.
Yeah, for me, it's always speed in terms of spinning reels, and I think that's been the trend across the board. So it's really interesting for me to kind of break my mind for a second and think about a slower gear ratio spinning reel. Also something you mentioned that our viewers might not think about. We always think about gear ratio, but that's so tied to the diameter of the spool.
Yeah.
And really,
it's all about inches per turn.
You're thinking about inches per turn.
That's it, yeah.
Right, so that's the amount of line that is retrieved when you're doing per revolution of the handle, and so that factors into the size of the reel. The larger size reels are going to just naturally have more inches per turn for the same gear ratio, right?
Yeah, picking up a bigger spool is absolutely going to pick up more line, for sure.
So that's
I'll let
really
Andrew touch on the specs, though.
Yeah, really interesting to think about some of the applications you're going to have for a winch spinning reel. Tell us what goes into this reel here, Andrew.
Yeah, so obviously this year with the new Revo lineup, we've got the extremes in each end. So we've got the winch and we've got the rocket. So the winch is really designed for, as Justin said, like it's a 4.8 to 1 gear ratio reel. So it's all about slowing down, cold water, those techniques where you really need to control the retrieve. It features like very similar all the technology we've got on all the Revos, all in the new Winch series as well. So we feature our one-piece gearbox design. So this is full aluminium construction. So all of our Revo reels feature a full aluminium construction, and it houses, the gear system in a very unique way, where it's not a frame and a side plate as a traditional spinning reel. It's in one piece, and that allows us to get a really compact reel, and it also gives us the ability to have a full aluminium construction with the same weight that you would generally see in a graphite reel. So you get a lot of weight reduction when you're able to build a reel like this. Also, the new gear system in these reels, allows us to get that really slow gear ratio, get it very smooth. So this is the new gear system that we have, which is our AMG 2 gear system, fully machined. And you can see it compared to the old Revo spinning gear, it's substantially bigger, gives us more gear strength, more gear durability. So it's kind of gives us that really nice spot in the gear technology where we're able to make that really low gear ratio that's 4.8 to 1. We're also able to make the really high gear ratio that you see in the rocket spinning reel as well. So a lot of gear strength and a lot of flexibility in gear ratios.
A lot of technology, a lot of good looks packed in to this brand new Abu Garcia Revo winch spinning reel. Get it soon at tacklewarehouse.com. From slowing down to speeding up, we just went through the winch. This is the brand new Abu Garcia Revo Rocket spinning reel for the times when you need blazing fast speed and really hot race car looks. Tell us about this one, Justin.
Yeah, so actually, how many inches a turn would there be difference between the winch and this and a 30? Is it
close to 20 inches, like 15 to 20 inches depending?
Dude, that's insane. So you're talking almost 1.5 feet roughly or so, or 1.25 feet per turn difference. But yeah, so I'll say this about gear ratios, and we talked earlier about it's more important to me about inches per turn, or feet per turn in this instance. But what is really important to me in the way that I've always looked at reels is if I'm using a bait that I'm moving the bait with the rod tip, I use a really fast reel or with something with high inches per turn to pick up the slack, because I'm creating the action in that bait using the rod tip. So that's where this rocket would come into play. And then if it's a bait that I'm moving through the water column, I like a slower reel that's got like a 5.4 like the winch that we talked about, or a 6, because the action from that bait is coming from me pulling it through the water column. And that's when I like a slower gear ratio like that. That's when you're going to be able to create action in a crankbait, swim bait, anything like that. But real quick on the Rocket, if you are fishing a bottom bouncing bait, for sure, drop shot, shaky head, Ned rig, anything like that, and you're creating all that action with the rod tip, this is going to be the fastest reel you can get from Abu Garcia to pick up the slack and be able to set the hook on those fish. And so this is a phenomenal reel for deep water fishing, especially if you're deep drop shot and anything like that, because you can reel it up. If I'm on top of a fish, reel it up and want to make a cast out to one, doesn't matter if it's 60 feet deep, it's going to come up really, really fast compared to other spinning reels. So yeah, from a performance standpoint, that's what I'm looking at when I like this reel. And if I'm fishing deep water, this thing is definitely going to be the one I pick up.
Justin, you warmed my heart there. I started smiling because
I saw that.
You're only the second person. That's a question I get all the time. You're only the second person I've ever heard describe when to use which gear ratio.
Yeah.
And if you're working the bait with a tip, you're going to need that high gear ratio to pick up line.
100%.
If you're working the bait with the reel, you're already tight to that line.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so important to know that. And I feel like people, a lot of times, to me, they use the wrong gear ratio or wrong reel for the techniques that they're doing, and so it's just like even a jerk bait, everything's out of the tip of the rod. So I want something that's going to pick up that slack really quick and be able to get me back to that position to be able to set the hook and not miss the fish.
Something else you touched on was being able to pick up line. We've seen so many videos of you with that flatworm dangling down there. You've got a ton of line out, ton of depth of water, the angle of your cast, and we see you get the bite and reel. On the new Rocket spinning reel, you're going to have less cranks to come tight on that fish.
Oh, no doubt.
And luckily you got that max scent, so that fish is holding on.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
The quicker you can come tight on that big smallmouth, the quicker you're gonna penetrate the hook, and the more likely that fish is coming in the boat.
I would 100% agree with that. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we'll look to the next couple of months
Yeah.
to see you doing that again. Can you
I'll be
tell
on
us
the
about
deck.
the technical specs here on the new Revo Rocket spinning reel?
Yeah, I think Justin touched on it perfectly. Like, this reel is designed for speed, and the key with this reel is its gear system. And we touched on it with the Winch gear system. This new oversized gear module that we have. It's 17% larger. It gives us the ability to create a wide variety of gear ratios in the Revo platform, and it's hard to make high-speed gears. And that's why you don't see a lot of high-speed reels like this in the market, because it's very difficult to keep them smooth and keep them strong. That's why all the key behind the Rocket gear ratio is this new gear module. It allows us to get the gear strength we need, have that ability to make sure that it stays the way it feels through the life of the reel, and you get that durability and gives that burning speed that we need. So the key to that whole reel is this gear system.
A burning speed, a burning paint job. This thing is just deadly looking. Looks like a race car in my hand. We'll be looking to see this on tour. This is the new Abu Garcia Revo Rocket spinning reel, available soon at tacklewarehouse.com. Up next, we have the brand new Revo 5 STX casting reel. I'm really excited about this because I break stuff. I'm hard on stuff. So tell us all about this new Revo STX casting reel.
This is the reel when I need a super durable reel. I'm going to be running 50-pound Durb braid on it, usually like flipping mats with a 1 ounce weight. It's got 24 pounds of drag, so when you hook that fish in on that heavy cover, you're able to really crank down and get them out. And man, it is an awesome all-around great reel.
Very cool. Some cool looking cosmetics here, and definitely something that's going to hold up to you, right?
Oh yeah, no, in Florida and stuff, or anytime you're on any kind of aquatic vegetation or heavy cover, fishing docks and stuff, you really got to crank the fish out of the cover. That is the reel I go to.
Very cool. Andrew, tell us about all the features that make this reel so durable and such a great option for Florida man here, John Cox.
Yeah, so as John said, like the STX we've designed it to be the workhorse of the Revo family. And if you're an angler who fishes 3-4 times a week, this is the reel you want to have in your hand. Full aluminium frame, full aluminium side plate, has a 95 millimeter handle, obviously oversized knobs, extra cranking power. It features our power stack drag system, which gives you that super high drag pressure, and obviously full brass gears in this reel. So everything we do in this reel is built to be around durability and performance. You can also see all of the Revo Low Pros now has that new asymmetric design, so improved castability in an extra durable package. It's a killer for all the anglers out there.
Very cool. Now, is this a legacy on the STX that the focus has always been durability, or is this a renewed focus on the new STX platform?
STX for us has always been the workhorse reel in our lineup, so we have always focused that STX family to be the most durable in the Revo standard family lineup.
Very cool. Yeah, I think myself, along with a lot of other anglers, love the performance out of the box. Maybe not so much a year and a half down the road, and this reel is really meant to address that for guys that like heavy line or harder on their gear. This is a reel for me.
This is exactly what we designed it for.
Awesome. The brand new Abu Garcia Revo 5 STX casting reel, available soon at tacklewarehouse.com. We already talked about the Revo Rocket spinning reel. Following the same beautiful cosmetics is the brand new Revo Rocket casting reel. It's not just a great looking package, it's also the fastest reel in the new Revo lineup. Can you tell us about this and when you're going to turn to this?
I really love the Rocket, both the spinning and the bait caster is when I need to pick up a ton of line. A lot of times smallmouth fishing, or even flipping sometimes, fish is running at you wide open. With the Rocket, it's just a couple turns, it picks up all the line, and it just keeps that line tight. And that's the main thing of keeping fish on, is keeping your line tight, and that's what I really love about this reel.
Yeah, you can't talk enough about not dropping slack in the line when you got a big fish hooked up. Is this also playing maybe to some topwater applications? I've seen your boat moving down the bank.
Yeah, I throw the cane walker a lot, and I cover a ton of water, put the trolling motor on 100, rip down the bank, and that definitely allows me to throw it all day. Less effort on the turns, and picks up a ton of line, and I'm able to cover 10, 15 miles a day with that thing.
There you go. Find the one that wants to bite. All right, Andrew, can you tell us about all the features packed into this brand new Revo Rocket?
Yeah, so the new Revo Rocket, all about speed, obviously, 10.1 to 1 gear ratio. The main thing here is because we have gone up in the spool diameter, your IPT has gone up pretty dramatically, so your inches per turn. So this is now getting close to 44 inches of line per turn, so that is honestly just screaming a ton of line in. And it's great for a lot of different applications, as John kind of mentioned. Full aluminium frame, that asymmetric design you see in the new Revos gives it that really unique look and very ergonomic. Full aluminium side plate as well, just to house those gears and keep them very, very rigid. And then you see this kind of unique carbon fiber handle that's straight, which you don't see a ton of straight carbon handles anymore, but it's straight carbon handle for extra strength, and it's 95 millimeters, so it gives you that extra cranking power with the oversized knobs.
It's pretty slick looking too. Just a ton of features, made for speed here. I gotta say, what'd you say, 44 inches per turn?
Yeah, close to 44 inches of line per turn.
How many turns per 15-mile day of fishing is that?
That's a lot of turns.
Well, better keep that cranking arm in shape.
Yeah.
This is the new Revo Rocket from Abu Garcia. Get it soon at tacklewarehouse.com. Okay, last but not least, on the reels from Abu Garcia, we have extensions of what is now just a favorite of bass anglers everywhere. That's the new Revo X casting and spinning reel. These are great looking and a great value.
Oh yeah, these are perfect reels. They're priced perfectly, and you can do everything you need to do with these reels. These are some of my favorites. When I would do guide trips and stuff, these are the reels that the guys are going to be set up with, and they're just great, awesome workhorse reels.
A great way to get yourself into the Revo lineup. We talked before we started filming. We talked about a few things that you might do on each of these. Mm-hmm. We talked about some of your worm fishing and some of your reaction bait fishing with some of this stuff.
Yeah, you're pretty much you can do anything you want to do, bait caster wise or spinning reel wise, and they're just super comfortable. it's pretty much identical to some of the the higher end stuff. But these are just definitely just great reels, and you can do anything you want from worm fishing to catching giant smallmouth to catching 10-pounders.
And maybe entry level in the Revo family, but definitely a tournament ready reel, isn't that right?
Oh, absolutely. The Revo X family is designed to be like, it might be the gateway into the Revo family, but it's also not shy on the performance level either. And you can see in all of the features that we've brought into the Revo, kind of the other models we've talked about, whether it's the Winch, whether it's the SX, whether it's the Rocket, you can see that asymmetric frame there. It features a magnetic brake system, so super easy to adjust, super controllable. 90mm handle, you have these new kind of co-molded knobs that we use, which are very, very comfortable in the hand. It's a full graphite frame and side plate, so it's very comfortable, lightweight to fish with all day, and you can see it just naturally falls into your hand with that new asymmetric design on the reel.
Awesome. All the features you're getting in some of the better higher level Revo SX, STX, but at a very affordable price point. We know this is going to be a favorite right off the bat. Can you tell us a little bit about the spinning reel?
Yeah, so it's the same with the spinning reel. A lot of the features you see on the higher price points, you're also getting on the spinning reel as well. So you're getting that full aluminium frame, that one-piece aluminium frame we talked about. You're also getting the full machine gear system in this reel as well. So a lot of those high-end features that you see on all of the other Revo models have also come down into the Revo X family. So again, a really awesome way for anglers to get in with a very nice reel, but it's not going to really break the bank, but give you all the performance that you're going to need.
Awesome. Andrew, John, thank you guys for taking us through what I'm sure is going to be a favorite among our customers, fishing fans everywhere. That's the new Revo X casting and spinning reel from Abu Garcia. Get it on Tackle Warehouse real soon. All right, and we're here in the Abu Garcia booth to take a look at some rods now. This is the Pro Series from Abu Garcia. I'm here with Mike Welsh, product manager for Abu Garcia. Mike, tell us about this brand new series of pro design rods from Abu Garcia.
Yep, we are very excited about this series. We worked with 8 of our pros, so there's 16 SKUs. Each pro has 2 technique-specific SKUs that are really tailored for their fishing style, their technique or application. What's unique about this series is that if you look behind me in this rack, it's a cohesive series from, say, the foregrip up. We wanted that continuity, but really where the separation lies is from the foregrip down to the butt end. You can see here I have Josh Bertrand's drop shot rod, and in the split grip area is where we have the coloration or the separation by using their boat wrap. It's also has the pro's name and what the technique is. And another call out too is that's listed here in the packaging with the pro's name, the technique, and then in their own words, the product description of what this product is used for or tailored for. Goal with this was for lightweight sensitivity. We were able to achieve that by using a high modulus material infused with PowerLux 200, which really helps enhance the brake strength characteristics. We used lightweight titanium guides with zirconia inserts, again to cut down that weight, increase sensitivity, and then a Abu custom design reel seat for hypersensitivity. It's got a nice soft touch feel to it. So all designs do come in a split grip handle, tailored again, obviously for bass, and just great feeling rods all the way from the Hank Cherry bladed jig to the Bertrand drop shot rod.
Really, with such a powerhouse staff from Abu Garcia, it only made sense to have these guys have some input on their techniques that really they excel at. So you mentioned a bladed jig rod. We got a Josh Bertrand drop shot rod. I mean, really, you are getting, when you buy one of these rods, you know that that one of the best in the business has had their hands on the design of the perfect rod for that specific technique. It's really a no-brainer.
That's right, and that's a great call out. Something that I should include or add, that we worked with the pros individually. We went through iteration after iteration to make sure that we got the action dialed in, the power dialed in, and that these guys were happy with it. Because at the end of the day, they're going to be on their boat decks and they're fishing them. These guys are using them and love them.
That's awesome. Again, this is the Abu Garcia Pro Series of casting, cranking, and spinning rods, available soon on tacklewarehouse.com. Mike, thanks for joining us. This has been it from the Abu Garcia and Berkeley booth at ICAST. I'm Joey. This is First Look for Tackle Warehouse. tune in with us over the next few days. We got a ton of great new products to introduce here at ICAST 2022. Check it out.